Hey there, this is Todd Watley. Thanks again for joining us. And today we're going to continue my series on important documents, issues, concepts relating to estate planning and elder law. And today is one of those topics that is kind of depressing. Okay. It's end of life. Okay. But it's important. It's so important that you take control of this, that you decide what should be done for you and pick people who are going to do what you want to do. Okay. So let's jump into it real quick. Preparing for life's transitions. I know transitions isn't the best word, but I didn't know quite else how to say it. So that's just what I use. A guide to embracing and adapting to the inevitable changes that occur throughout life's journey. So, introduction. We're going to, again, my job as your attorney, if you choose to hire me, is to make sure that your wishes are carried out. And healthcare directives are absolutely one of those things that people are very passionate about. And you need to put those things in writing for it to be done correctly. Okay. It's good for you to know that what you want done is going to be done, but it's also, it relieves a huge burden on your family. Your family doesn't want to make that call. They don't want to stand there and try to decide what to do. But if you put it in writing and we get it as close to written in concrete as we can, it helps them feel better. It's like, Mom made that decision. Dad's decided what he wants, and this is what we're going to stick with. And it maintains control and dignity. I've worked in the healthcare field. I've worked on an ambulance. I was an EMT all through college. And the process of bringing someone back when their heart has stopped, it is not a pretty situation. It's not filled with dignity. You are absolutely out of control, and they do things to try to bring you back. And that's great if you want to come back in that situation, and it brings a lot of people back. But if you're at the end of your life and you've died, do you really want them to bring you back again? If you do, great. Let's put it in writing and let's do it. But most people are like, hey, once I'm there and I pass on, good grief, don't bring me back. All right. So let's talk about that. So the components of a living will, I don't love the word living will because everybody confuses it with the last will and testament, but that's what we use sometimes known as an advance directive. And I think that term is trending, but still it's very commonly known as a living will. So in this document, you want to identify your healthcare agent, the person that you want to make decisions, particularly at the end of life, but you should also do a healthcare power of attorney that will name who's going to make those decisions, not at your end of life, but the living will is specifically for end of life, and you name someone to be able to help carry out those wishes. You specify which end of life procedures you want or which ones you don't want. Okay. You can also list in there if you want to be a organ or tissue donation participant. And so, yeah, put that in there. I will tell you the best place to put that is on your driver's license because they always pull your driver's license. They will look at it. And if your state allows you to put that designation on your driver's license, do it because that's there and it's kind of official and it's always in their face. You can, in your living will, put funeral and burial instructions. I do know most states, and particularly Arkansas, has a form that if you're very particular about that, and I will tell you, this has come up a number of times in 25 years, it's come up rarely, but it's come up quite a few times over the last few months, is the person who has died wanted to be cremated, but the funeral home won't do the cremation until they have consent of all of the family members. And I think it's a unanimous consent before they will do it. It is my understanding that there is a form that you can fill out, have it probably witnessed or notarized, that is official, that trumps that and says, this is what I want done. And it's an official document that you can fill out, and that will make sure that it's done even without the consent of your family. And then also make sure all of these documents are done correctly. For some reason in Arkansas, almost every document that we do just needs to be notarized. A last will and testament has to be witnessed, and the notary notarizes the signatures of the witnesses. But then also on a living will, it's not notarized, it is witnessed by two people, and they can't be family members or people who are making that decision. They obviously can't sign your living will. So it's two pretty much independent people have to witness your living will. to make it official. If you don't know this guy, he is a physician and he focuses on end of life medicine. And I love this quote when I found it. You may not control life circumstances, but getting to be the author of your life means getting to control what you do with them. So you want to be the author. You want to be in control of what happens to you at the end of your life. Okay? The process. You need to reflect and assess what you want done. Please think about it before you go see the attorney. Think about exactly what you want done and be ready to discuss that. Research and understand. Talk to nurses, talk to your doctor, talk to different people who have gone through this process with patients numerous times, and they can give you some very good insight. You then draft the will, the living will, and state exactly what you want, appoint the person that you want to be making those decisions at that point in time. And then, like I said, in Arkansas, we will witness it twice. Some states do require a notary, but in Arkansas, it is witnessed by two people and they can't be the decision maker. One can't be, the other can be family member, but they can't be the decision maker. All right. And then I encourage you, once you get this back, once it's witnessed and packaged up for you, that you give this to people. Let people know what your wishes are, particularly those who may not agree with you. So if you have family members who don't agree that you don't want life-saving measures, let them know. Let them know this is my decision while you're standing and talking and able to communicate this clearly and answer their questions. They'll hear that voice at that point to say, this is what mom wanted. Okay. And it gives them great comfort, even though they don't agree with you. It gives them great comfort to know this is what they wanted. This is a difficult conversation. Okay. I encourage you to have this conversation with family. They don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Come to my office. I'll bring it up. I'll lay it out there for you and we'll discuss it. Okay. But ideally, do this at home prior to coming to the lawyer's office, particularly if there's going to be some pushback and some argument. So it's a difficult conversation, but please have it. Okay. There are quite a few forms. Okay. If you listened last week to my power of attorney discussion, I was very adamant that you really need to have an attorney do your power of attorney, and ideally an elder law attorney who understands Medicaid and end of life processes. That you want that document to be very detailed and do some things you may not think that you want to do. With this, it's part of our package. And so since you're doing the other documents, go ahead and let me do this for you also. But there are some really good forms you can download off the internet. And probably my favorite is the 5 wishes. And that's the blue one there on the screen. That is in almost every state. There's a few states that don't accept it, but in a whole lot of states, they do recognize that as a living will and will honor that. And what a lot of people love about the 5 wishes is that it goes into more details than just what to do or what not to do. It talks about some spiritual things, emotional things, and it goes into detail, and it really makes you sit down and think about it. Okay, so but I am okay if you do download this off the internet, go through, make your decisions, just make sure it's executed correctly, and then distribute it. I won't spend this entire time, but the medical orders for life-sustaining treatment, sometimes it's post-physician orders. I think in Arkansas, it's POLST. That is a thing that you do with your doctor that makes sure that EMTs typically will not honor the 5 wishes or a living will. Okay, if they get called to come save your life, they're going to try to save your life. But if you do have a most or a post that is signed by your physician and available, if your state accepts that, the EMTs will then also accept that. And so if you are very, very much at the end of your life and you do that with your physician, you can post that so that the EMTs can see it, that if someone did call, my suggestion is if you die, make sure your family doesn't call the ambulance, okay? If you have a living will, you're at the end of your life and you don't want to be resuscitated, don't call the ambulance. But people freak and they just call the ambulance and do it. So a living will is something you should do early. Most people don't do it until the very end, and most people don't do it at all. But there are times when you really do need to think about it, and particularly if you get married, aging, you inherit some stuff. I mean, all of those things can change your mindset toward a living will. So any major life event, do think about your living will and what exactly you want done and if anything has changed. Okay. There are a ton of resources out there. The National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization. If you have a local hospice, they do support groups and different things. I would encourage you to go talk to them if you do have questions about end of life and whether you want those things done or not done. It's important. Okay, AARP has a lot of information about that. Even the American Bar, you can go to their website, I think it's aba.org, and they will have information for you. And you can download a lot of stuff from your state. Just be sure and Google for your state so that you get a state specific document. All right. So hopefully that wasn't too depressing. Hopefully you learned something. And at Generations Legal Group, we would love to work with you. We would be honored. I and Lauren are the attorneys. Doug, Sarah, Pearl, and Trisha, they're my staff that's there. And Ian, financial guy, that we can talk about finances. We can pretty much talk about everything. Okay. So we would be honored if you called us, 479-601-4119. Please like, please subscribe. I'll be doing this every week for as long as I can. And so if you subscribe, you will know when a new one hits and you won't miss it. And please, please, please call us, email us, Todd or Lauren or Trisha at generationslegalgroup.com. Okay, thanks.